The woods held their breath, ancient trees pressing in on the two houses at the end of the lane. They were Victorian skeletons, these houses, paint flaking like dead skin. One was blue, or had been once, now a faded memory of sky. The other a sickly yellow, like old teeth. Martha shivered, pulling her shawl tighter. She stood at her window, eyes on the yellow house. Inside, her husband Arthur coughed, a rattling sound like stones falling down a well. Beside him a checkerboard lay forgotten, a testament to their dwindling days. Across the way in the yellow house, Eleanor hummed a tuneless melody as she spooned broth into her husband Thomas's mouth. He too was fading, his once strong hands now resembling bird claws. They, like Martha and Arthur, were prisoners in their failing bodies. The storm arrived with the fury of a beast denied. Wind howled through the trees, a mournful symphony. Rain lashed the windows, a relentless assault on the decrepit houses. It was a night for whispers, for secrets shared in hushed tones. A figure emerged from the woods, tall and gaunt, shrouded in shadows. He moved with an unnatural grace, seeming to glide over the rain-soaked ground. His eyes, when they caught the light, glinted like obsidian, cold and ancient. He knocked on the door of the blue house, a sharp, insistent sound that cut through the storm's roar. Martha answered, her heart pounding in her chest. He offered a deal, a chance to turn back time's cruel hand, to reclaim their lost youth. But the price, he warned, would be steep. The transformation was swift and absolute. Arthur and Martha, once stooped and frail, now stood tall and vibrant. Their wrinkles vanished, replaced by the smooth skin of their youth. Laughter filled the blue house once more, a melody long forgotten. Across the way, Eleanor and Thomas too had succumbed to the stranger's temptation. They danced in their living room, their movements fluid and graceful, their faces aglow with the joy of newfound vitality. The past, with its aches and ailments, seemed a distant nightmare, but the joy was short-lived. The laughter turned hollow, the joy tinged with a growing unease. There were whispers in the wind, whispers that sounded like accusations. Faces appeared in the darkened windows of their neighbors' houses, faces both familiar and forgotten, their eyes filled with sorrow and reproach. It began subtly, a disquiet in the air, a sense of being watched. Then came the dreams, vivid and unsettling. Martha would wake in a cold sweat, her heart pounding in her chest, the echoes of whispered names lingering in the air. Arthur too was haunted. He saw shadows moving in the periphery of his vision, heard voices calling his name from the depths of the woods. Their laughter, once a source of joy, now sounded harsh and discordant, a jarring note in the eerie silence of the woods. One by one, the townsfolk began to disappear. Old Mrs. Henderson, who lived at the edge of the woods, her porch always adorned with blooming geraniums. Young Billy Carter, who delivered groceries on his bicycle, a gap-toothed grin perpetually etched on his face. Mr. and Mrs. Thompson, their laughter often heard echoing across the valley as they tended their garden. The knock came late one night, a sharp, insistent rap that echoed through the stillness of the house. Arthur sat alone in the living room, his face etched with a fear he couldn't name. Martha had taken to her bed, her once bright eyes now clouded with a nameless dread. He knew with a chilling certainty who stood on the other side of the door. He knew the price of their stolen youth, the terrible bargain they had struck. The faces of the missing townsfolk flashed before his eyes, their expressions a mixture of accusation and despair. As Arthur rose to answer the knock, a cold wind swept through the house, extinguishing the lamp and plunging the room into darkness. He heard Martha's muffled cry from the bedroom, followed by a chilling silence. The knock came again, louder this time, insistent and final. The devil had come to collect.